Welcome to In Good Company, where relationships drive results, with your host, Lisa Kilrea. In each episode, we explore how great leaders build trust, inspire teams, and turn meaningful connections into real success.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Kilrea, host of In Good Company, where relationships drive results. On this show, I talk with leaders and innovators in manufacturing, distribution, and OEM industries about how they're using digital marketing and AI technology to grow their business. This episode is sponsored by WSI eResults, revolutionizing digital marketing for the manufacturing industry and B2B companies. At WSI eResults, we help manufacturers, distributors, and those that service these companies elevate their digital presence through AI-powered, data-driven strategies designed to generate leads and new customer revenue. From AI-powered SEO and content marketing to tailored campaigns built for the unique challenges of the manufacturing and B2B sector, WSI eResults delivers the tools and expertise to help your business stand out, grow, and thrive. Learn more at wsi-manufacturing-marketing.com, your blueprint for smarter, more effective digital marketing and AI solutions. I have Chad here from Rise 25, who has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and CEOs, and we have flipped the script, and he will be interviewing me today. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey, Lisa, thanks so much. I appreciate you having me. This is I think this is one of your first In Good Company episodes. So we're looking forward to finding out a little bit more about you as the host. So
Great,
if you could,
thank you. I am too.
Yeah, great. Just start by telling me maybe, as you mentioned, you're the founder of WSI eResults. What prompted you to start that business?
Wow, well, that's a loaded question. Yeah, I've been in business for, I would say, almost about 20 years as an entrepreneur. And it goes way back to my early career days when I was working in corporate marketing for some big companies like Quaker Oats and BP, Petroleum. And my ultimate goal was always to be in brand management and do exactly what I was doing in those corporate jobs. I was the client, I was working with all the big agencies, Ogilvy and Mather, Leo Burnett, the list goes on. It was a great job. It was fun. I was learning a lot, working with very smart people, being trained, and really having a great time. But at some point in my life, I would say probably in my later 30s, the allure started to fade. I was traveling internationally. I had two little kids. It was extremely demanding, and I just wanted more flexibility, more time in the United States, and to be able to control what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. And that's when, for a few years, I really started researching different opportunities and what should I do. And ironically, I did start another business before WSI that was a retail children's party that was really I dipped my toe in the water with entrepreneurship and was in an extremely fortunate position where that business really took off and exploded the second the doors opened, which is really difficult to believe when I look back on it. But essentially, there was a lot of revenue and pre-booked events before the doors even opened. So we were fortunate to have well over a six-figure revenue, like pretty much in the bank before we opened our doors, which really set us off on a good track. Right. So I did that for about 4 years. I really enjoyed it, but extenuating circumstances with the competitive environment really kind of put a roadblock on the plans to expand into 2 other locations that we had in the works. Mm-hmm. So the economy crashed in around 2010. Things were rough, but my business was still moving forward. And I was fortunate enough to find buyers and sold the business. And it really worked out for us. And at that point, I didn't really know what to do. I was going to take some time off for about a year because the economy was so bad. But in an odd way, I kind of stumbled upon digital marketing, which was in its infancy at that point. And it was something I was just starting to learn about at my previous business as a business owner. And I had realized that there really are very few experts out there other than some of these really, really large agencies that the small, medium-sized business really can't afford. So that's when I got into digital marketing. I found WSI, which, even 16 years ago was a powerhouse and really was ahead of the curve with all of that. And that's kind of how I jumped into it. That
Wow,
was the
that's
beginning of my journey.
yeah, that's awesome. So, you talked about your success of your prior entrepreneurial endeavor. What do you think, looking back on it, was the key to that? Was it your previous experience, your work experience at these big corporations, or a
Yeah.
combination of things?
That's a great question because I've been asked that a lot,
Hmm.
actually. Not so much recently, but I our location was a record-breaking location within the entire network. It was a franchise.
Mm.
So we were like the 120th location that started, and we broke all company records with our launch. And really, what I did is I just applied everything I did in my corporate job from a local marketing perspective and branding and integrated marketing approach.
Hmm.
And I was really the first owner in the company's history to really have an aggressive marketing plan, which had an aggressive investment on our part, which was a little scary. But to be quite honest, it was what I did every day. And I suppose I didn't know what I didn't know at that time. And I just went with it, launched it. I had a PR consultant I brought in. I did some TV advertising, direct mail, print ads. But at that point, it really was the website just existed. There was no really digital or website marketing at that point.
Hmm.
But yes, it was my corporate background that I applied that experience and everything I'd done for a lot of years to my own retail location. And it worked.
So you went from corporate life to franchise being a franchisee, kind of, and then going to
Yes.
straight entrepreneurship, like from the ground up type thing. So when you first started WSI, which is from the ground up, what was maybe the biggest hurdle you faced, just in general, or in convincing manufacturers to embrace a digital strategy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fortunate thing is that, well, I mean, Pump It Up isn't a franchise model like my retail business.
Mm.
It is a large network of agency owners. I compare it more to like the State Farm insurance model,
Okay.
where you've got a corporate office and you've got independent agency owners. So
Oh, I see.
WSI is much more similar to something like that. But what was your question again?
What is maybe the biggest hurdle you faced when it came to convincing manufacturers to embrace a
Oh,
digital
yeah.
strategy?
Yeah,
Strategy.
I didn't start out focusing on manufacturers and B2B. When I first started getting into it, it just sounded like, this is great. Like, where was this type of information when I owned my other business? I can help anybody. And so I really didn't focus at first. I was like, I can help anybody. I'm going to take any client and, any client I bring on, it doesn't matter what industry they are, I can help them with their digital marketing and get them more website traffic and new business. Um, you know, I suppose initially that is an okay approach to learn the business and kind of cut your teeth. But as time went by and I had a portfolio of clients of all different colors, I really started looking at the individual clients and was like, gosh, which ones are really the best clients I have? And it kind of skewed towards my B2B. I had a couple manufacturers and I started really thinking about and analyzing, why are these clients such a good fit for me? And it really, it kind of came down to that, typically a manufacturing company is a little bit bigger. So you're going to get away from the mom and pops and they're going to have the budgets to pay you. Um, the more industrial B2B part of the economy, even the larger manufacturers, I mean, I'm not talking the Fortune 100, but, privately owned businesses, maybe private equity backed, they don't have a lot of internal resources when it comes to marketing
Mm.
and for sure not digital. they're very sales focused, and they usually have, a VP of sales. They have a sales team. They might have a VP of marketing and sales, and they might even have a marketing coordinator or a marketing manager. But often, even to this day, um, those internal people are, they might dabble in the digital a little bit. Um, there's always the exception to these statements. I'm generalizing, but they typically focus on the more traditional marketing, the printed
Hmm.
materials, the
Hmm.
trade show support, which trade shows are really big with my client base. So, they're really lacking digital expertise, which is where we come in as their outsourced marketing team, and we can work, with their marketing resources, or we can work directly with their sales person. I mean, we kind of bridge the gap between marketing and sales for our clients.
So as you kind of do digital marketing for these manufacturing and B2B clients, how do you define success when working with them?
Yeah, that's a good question also. I would say it varies by client, and it really depends on the scope of work and what the strategy is and what their objectives are. So if they're looking for visibility for a product launch, it's going to be, brand awareness and impressions and clicks to the website and some other metrics. I would say the vast majority of our client base is looking to grow their business. They're looking for lead generation. They're looking for qualified traffic to their website that is going to convert into a phone call and a form. And I would say that success for those clients is quality leads coming in that they engage with and present proposals to and ultimately close, which means increased revenue through new client acquisition.
AI has kind of really invaded everybody's life. What role does AI play in the digital strategies you build for your clients?
Yeah, gosh. I mean, AI is everywhere. I mean, you have to be living underneath a rock not to know it exists and what the value is. And, so many people have different opinions about AI and what the value of it is. But the fact is, the train has left the station. It's out there and it's making a huge impact on the world, on people personally, on businesses professionally. And if you can't or don't want to embrace it, you're going to be left in the dust. So AI is a very powerful tool that can be a good thing or a bad thing. We've all heard the horror stories on the daytime talk shows, on primetime news. I mean, it's all over the place. Everybody's hearing the horrible stories about how chat is or AI isn't being used effectively and it backfires into a lawsuit for false claims, whatever the case may be. So you need to be very smart about it. And to be honest, you need to be trained on it.
Mm.
You can dabble on Chat GPT and you can do all kinds of things to make your day-to-day life easier. But as you dig deeper, um, there's a lot of important principles to AI and things that you should be doing to protect your company. And most people don't know how to go about that. That's where an external resource comes into play. So I would say my agency is very much AI driven.
Hmm.
Our company at the corporate level, since I'm, an independently owned digital agency that operates underneath the global WSI brand, at our corporate level, we have an AI team with a chief AI officer, AI strategist, and a whole back end AI development team that we can bring in. So my agency is definitely AI driven. My team leverages AI in every way they can, not to cut corners, but to provide more value for our clients and to get better results. I mean, everyone's using it. We might as well be better educated and use it more effectively so we can get more out of our clients' budgets and get more results. So that's how we really leverage it. But I guess in addition to not just my agency using it, we use it for client projects. So that's where our corporate team comes into play, where we work with our clients and do what we call AI assessments for different functional areas of their company. So moving beyond marketing and sales, we could be looking at an HR solution. We could be looking at an accounting solution. We could be significantly improving the processing of invoices for our clients, for example, which is a accounting problem that can be solved through AI. So we've got those capabilities too. So I would say AI is of huge importance to me, every person on my team, the agency, and for our clients' work, both
Was
within marketing and sales and other areas of their company. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no problem. Wasn't no problem. Was the adoption or was the willingness to adopt AI and realize like we're gonna use this and move forward with it as smart as we possibly can? Was that always your attitude, or did you have to have a little bit of convincing?
Well, I think it took a little bit of convincing. I mean, ChatGPT has been around for 3 years,
Hmm.
believe it or not. It was born November 22nd, 3 years ago. So we're a couple days away from the 3-year anniversary of ChatGPT.
Hmm.
And what's really mind-boggling is 3 months later, ChatGPT 4 came out. So, I mean, there really wasn't much time to sit back and say, this isn't revolutionary. This can't help me. I mean, the power of ChatGPT and then the other LLMs like Perplexity and Gemini and
Hmm.
Copilot, that came about quickly after. I mean, you really couldn't ignore it. So it didn't take a ton of convincing for me because that's my job. That's what we do. And if we're going to survive and our clients are going to remain competitive, we we had to learn it. We had to embrace it, which we did. And
So
we
let's
continue to do on a
yeah.
day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So let's say I'm kind of in charge of a small or a mid-sized manufacturer in the Midwest, and I've been doing traditional marketing maybe, but not so much digital marketing. What would you say would be the first three digital actions that you might recommend for me?
Okay. So I would say, it's my standard answer. It's strategy first. Don't just throw things at the wall and see what sticks and see if it's going to work. I always compare it to random acts of kindness are awesome. Random acts of marketing are not.
Hmm.
So you really need a plan. And that's what we take great pride in is kind of pressing the pause button. Let's take a step back. Let's learn about our client's business. Let's understand what their overall business goals and objectives are. Who are their targeted buyer persona? What are their key priorities and services or products that they sell? And let's really delve into, the persona that they're trying to reach.
Hmm.
And then I would say, in continuation of that process is, do the website audit. Where are you at? The worst thing you can do is start throwing marketing dollars at a website that is not prepared to handle it. And for example, can't get found by Google or any of the LLMs. So technically and foundationally, the website needs to be in a good spot before you spend any money. So that technical audit's going to identify any issues. Keyword research at this point of the process is really important too, because that could tie into some things that are on your website. And believe it or not, even with the LLMs, keywords are still important. So you got to keep that part of the process. So, and then you kind of bring it all together and, develop the recommendation on, what is the most important thing that should be done first, and break it up into phases. So, we like to walk before we run, developed a phased approach, and then also focus. One of the things I find that business leaders and professionals like to do is they like to spread their marketing budgets thin. So, and basically what they do is they shoot themselves in the foot and none of it really works. So I always recommend, pick one thing and do it exceptionally well. And let's set up the processes where we have the data. and we've got the right KPIs and we're tracking it and we can get some quick wins and we can prove that this works. And then we can expand into other tactics and other strategies and increase the budget down the road.
How important is SEO for B2B companies and manufacturers?
I would say it is critically important. Um, and just to go back to that previous question, I mean, assuming your website is in a good spot to do SEO, that's always the question of the day. So, assuming the website is ready to go, um, I would say search, and we used to call it search engine optimization, but with AI and the LLMs, we now call it, and there are so many acronyms out there, but the one I like the most that really resonated with me is search everywhere optimization.
Mm. Okay.
So it's still SEO,
Hmm.
but it's not search engine, it's search everywhere. And the
Hmm.
reason that kind of has taken hold is because it's not just about your website and Google, it's about other places on the internet like YouTube, um, LinkedIn, and people are searching everywhere to find companies. They're going to ChatGPT, Perplexity. So you've got to be found everywhere. So SEO in the new context is critically important for B2B companies, including manufacturers. We found it's really the workhorse of a digital strategy.
Has there been, maybe as you kind of work with these clients who don't have a whole lot of experience in digital marketing, is there maybe a common misconception a lot of them might have when it comes to that type of marketing?
Yeah, I would say, and there's kind of two groups of companies out there. There's companies that have done nothing. So you're literally starting with a clean sheet of paper. I mean, that is a challenging position to be in because there's no authority of the website, there's no recognition, and most of these companies are actually invisible to Google and the
Mm.
LLMs. So to go from zero to a robust, content engine lead generation machine, it's going to take some time and effort. And, sometimes business leaders, business owners, they don't have the patience for that. So it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in 30 to 90 days. But usually, in a scenario like that, 6 months in, we're starting to move the needle. We're starting to gain some traction. We're starting to see some things come through. And it's starting to prove that it can work. The other scenario is a new client or a business that has done digital marketing before. And even if it wasn't done exceptionally well, or maybe even poorly, you often can go back and fix what the other agency or person or company was trying to do, and you can get some quick wins.
Hmm.
And then the new strategy and the new approach that WSI brings to the table can kind of build off that. In that scenario, we'll typically see results a little bit more quickly than with a company that's never done any digital marketing before.
Hmm. One more digital marketing question for you
Uh-huh.
for this episode. You talk about some people have websites. Maybe they're excited. They're ready to get going with digital marketing and whatever, and their websites you say are not ready for Google searches or to be recognized. Is there like a typical reason for that?
Yeah, there's a couple
Hmm.
that are significant red flags.
Hmm.
I mean, one typically is the site is really old and out of date, and it's on an old platform, so
Hmm.
the technology is out of date. Um, those types of websites really need to be rebuilt and at a minimum migrated to a current platform.
Mm.
Otherwise, they're just not going to get picked up by Google or the LLMs. The other scenario, assuming that the website is okay and is built on a current platform, is that there's not enough content.
Mm.
Because everything about digital marketing is content driven. Content has only become more important with the advent of AI and the LLMs. It's all about quality of content, variety of content, and quantity.
Okay.
So quality, quantity, and variety are the three main components. So the more content you have, the better. the better written it is for now the LLMs, the more successful you're going to be, and the more different types of content you have. So Google specifically, I'll just use them as an example. There are now 30 different types of content formats that are being served on search results. So you might see a blog, a video, an infographic, an FAQ, a snippet. I mean, the list goes on. There's 30 of them. So, just writing blogs or just writing website pages on your website isn't going to cut it in today's LLM world.
What are some other options? Besides
Other
blogs?
options.
Besides blogs.
Yeah. Infographics, case studies, white papers, FAQs, videos. And videos are really cool because videos used to be really difficult and expensive to produce at scale. But now, again, another example of AI, there are off-the-shelf AI video platforms where you can convert existing content into a video in a matter of hours for, an hourly rate of whatever, which probably equates to a couple $100 versus thousands of dollars. So now we have the capability to produce AI generated videos, which, by the way, all of our clients approved prior to us doing it. We showed them an example to get their feedback, and it was unanimous. Everybody was impressed. All of our client presidents, owners, whoever our point of contact was like, this is pretty good. And they're pretty flexible. So the world, again, has changed for the better in this example, because now we can more cost effectively produce more content in varied formats with the use of AI.
Okay, sounds good. Well, there's all kinds of stuff we could get into, and maybe we will in later episodes. But as we wrap things up for today, tell me, what are you most excited about regarding being the host of this podcast?
I would say I am really excited to learn from other successful business professionals and leaders. Just having conversations and meeting them and talking to them before the show, during the show, and after the show is going to be really empowering and really fun for me and useful.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll certainly make sure to check out a few episodes. Hey, Lisa, I really appreciate you having me today, and thanks for all of your time and all of your insights.
Thank you so much, Chad. I really enjoyed the time with you.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company, where relationships drive results, with Lisa Kilrea. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay connected and keep building relationships that drive results.